Here we go again. Great Bear's Noob Zone. Wait, no. Dull's Noob Zone. Wait, no. The Noob Zone Towers is a fan game based on Juke's Towers of Hell, a Roblox game in which you climb many towers with varying difficulty and design. The Noob Zone Towers takes this difficult concept and remakes it in a way that even a toddler can play it. While this concept may seem trivial at first, the more you look into this game, the more you find the complex layers upon layers of secrets hiding within. The last video I made about this subject is over a year old now and is extremely outdated. After all this time has passed, I have spent the last few months creating a new iceberg with everything inside the game condensed into one JPEG. Now, come with me and I'll show you every ounce of secrets, lore, inside jokes, leaks, and other things that this game and its community has to offer. This is the TNZT Iceberg. Now, a few bits of information you should know before we begin. There will be difficulties from TNZT in the corner of the video, which will change for every entry based on how well I know it. The lower the difficulty level, the more I know about it, and the higher the difficulty level, the less I know about it. Another thing that you should know is that several of the entries in the iceberg are from the iceberg solving event which took place in the Discord server of this game, where members of the server tried to figure out the entries of an iceberg created by Great Bear and some of the other admins and developers. I find this pretty cool, as something I made was so popular that the owner himself made his own version. However, there are some things that are placed much lower in the iceberg than they should be, so don't get angry at me for that. Also, the exact solutions to every entry were never exactly released, so there are some things that I could not find. One more disclaimer, the entries on this iceberg are placed in terms of how well the average player would know. So if something is placed lower in the iceberg than you think it should be, just think about how obvious it would be from the perspective of a newer player. Now, without further ado, let's begin with the layer of information most players know about. This is how the descent down the iceberg begins. Tev. Tev, or the Easiest Void, is a hard difficulty citadel located in Ring 1. It was added sometime in late October of 2020, and has been in development for a little over a year. This citadel is notorious for locking the hard difficulty, the hardest difficulty on the chart, to it alone, not letting any other community members create a hard tower themselves. A group of builders was brought together by the first owner, Great Bear, and they began working on Tev. However, it had made little progress over the course of a year, and was presumably scrapped for a new build team after the events of 2.5.22. As of the revamp of Ring 1, the Tev portal is empty, with no difficulty in the portal or on the chart, and without hints. Tutun has said that Tev is on hold for the time being, and it may enter a development limbo similar to TODLN. Let's hope for the best. However, an older version of Tev could be releasing to the public in a separate place owned by an admin of the game, but it would be an older version separate to any version released in the game in the future. Mini Towers. Mini Towers are smaller variants of towers which are in many JTO fan games. In TNZT, they used to be called Neats, or Not Even a Tower. This is based off Not Even a Tower from Juke's Towers of Hell. They have changed their names to begin with Mini Tower of instead of Not Even a. There is one mini tower for every ring of the game. Tower Rushes. Tower Rushes are fast-paced grinds through every tower of an area, one after another. The order begins from the easiest tower in an area to the hardest, and then the Citadel. There is one in every ring and subrealm. I will be making a separate video on how to find all of the Tower Rushes in due time. Steeples. Steeples are another tower variant which has 5 to 6 floors instead of the usual 10. Steeples are usually located in the vents or subrealms, and their portals are similar to mini towers. Another tower variant is the Citadel, which has floors in the range of 11 floors to 25 floors. There are other variants such as obelisks and great citadels, but neither of these are in any official area of the game other than the 2021 April Fool's event. TODLN. TODLN, or Tower of Doing Literally Nothing, is an unfailable tower located in Ring 1 of the game. This tower is created by Wait, what? Anyway, the portal for this tower has been in-game almost since the beginning, but has never had an officially released frame or tower. Hints have been released about its release, but there is no official date as of now. The goal for TODLN is that it will be a 30-minute long tower that has no player input whatsoever, and is impossible to fail. This is quite the goal, seeing as a 30-minute tower on its own is difficult to make, especially one that's entirely automatic. This tower's beta version was playable in the 2021 April Fool's event, but that's the only real playable version. Noob Crushing. Noob Crushing is a category of difficulties which exceed the limit of people who have never played obbies being able to easily complete the towers. These towers are hidden across the rings, usually one per ring. The 4 difficulties in this range are effortless, easy, medium, and hard. The different noob crushing towers in TNZT at this time are Tower of Classic Escalation, an effortless tower, Tower of Volcanic Pressure, an easy tower, which was previously a medium tower, Tower of Monochrome Easiness, another easy tower, Tower of Different and Distinct Designs, yet another easy tower, and finally, Tower of Lacking Groovy Desire, a medium tower, which is a sequel to Tower of Getting Pretty Funky. A new zone known as Submerged Catacombs will be coming soon, which includes mainly noob crushing towers with new difficulties, difficult and challenging, and possibly intense, but the intense difficulty has yet to be fully confirmed for the game. Curators. Curators are members of the TNZT Discord that play through tower submissions from the community and judge them to see if they will get into the game. If the curators deem the tower unsuited for the game, it will not pass their review, but if they feel like it'd be a good addition to the game, it will be added to a whitelist. The whitelist is a pool of towers for the game's developers to fill slots with. Once a set of slots is filled, progress of a new ring or other area will begin. There is some drama revolving around curators, which includes personal bias being a factor towards their reviews, but they are a pivotal part of the game. Those were all pretty simple aspects of the game, but let's begin to go over some things that may not be well known by every community member. You may know a considerable amount of these, though. Barry. Barry is the unofficial/official mascot of TNZT, created by Simplest14. That's right, the man who said he would bang TOAEE created the most well-known thing in TNZT. It's a simple 4x4 cube with a Roblox smile decal. It was first featured in Tower of Slow Progression, then Tower of Outer Pushing, and finally, as of now, Citadel of Boring Outcomes, in which you have the option to kill Barry. Many people joke about killing Barry since popular YouTuber Jadenstorm pushed him off the Morpher in his video about Tower of Slow Progression.
No, Barry!
Hallways. Hallways are the community name for... Or, apparently it's just my name for it. Revamps. Since many early TNZT towers were added into the game with very low qualifications, most Ring 1 to Ring 3 towers are not very high in quality. Due to this, many towers have had revamps, which change either a small amount or none of the gameplay, but improve design immensely. Towers which have been revamped include TOFAD, TOWATF, and COEDC. All the areas in the game are also being revamped except for the village, which is a sub-realm in Ring 3. The revamped forms of Ring 1 and Ring 2 have already been released, but as of recording this, Ring 3 and the Steeple Peak has yet to come. The community has been pushing for the early version of Ring 3 to be released in its current form, since even though the lobby is not great, most of the towers are. They want this to happen so that development can be on Ring 4, the long-awaited tower, which has been in development hell for some time. As of now, the order of development is Ring 3, the Steeple Peak, and then Ring 4. Wiki. The The TNZT Wiki is a fandom website which gives information on the game's rings, towers, and events. It's fairly active and is usually regularly updated, and it is owned by Ferdinand Loves Legos. That's about it. Contributor Rooms. Contributor Rooms were a hidden room in each ring where people who contributed to the game in ways other than towers are put into the rooms in avatar form. They have mostly been removed, as far as I'm aware, and the only remaining contributor room is located in Ring 1, but is empty. An admin has said, however, that they may be added back as an Easter egg to each ring, but since the complexity of the game has increased, so has its amount of contributors, so it may be difficult to fully add. Rainbow Signs. Rainbow signs were added to the game whenever it reached a large milestone. These milestones are as follows: 1,000 visits, 2,000 visits, 30,000 visits, 400 favorites, and 100,000 visits. Ever since the owner transferred, the game has not received any rainbow signs. Hopefully this will change in due time, as I personally believe that they're fun additions. Subrealms. Subrealms are areas inside of other areas. Wacky, I know. Which mainly contain steeples. Subrealms were originally a feature in Juke's Towers of Hell, but then everyone plagiarized it. As of now, the only released subrealms in TNZT are Ring 1 subrealm, Bygone Isles, Ring 2 subrealm, the Steeple Peak, and Ring 3 subrealm, the Village. Plans for another subrealm with towers more difficult than hard is also in the works, called Submerged Catacombs. And a subrealm for Ring 4 is also in the works that has something to do with driving some sort of vehicle into the subrealm. Here's some pictures. Talking roles. In the TNZT Discord, the more you talk in the text channels, the more experience you gain. After gaining enough experience, you level up. Based on your level, you can have certain roles such as Average, Great, Lord, Overlord, and Rebuilt God. Rings 5 through 9. We know very little about any rings after Ring 4, except for some information on Ring 5. Ring 5 will, as of now, be called the Thalsic Ruins, Thalsic being a word meaning relating to the sea. We also know that Ring 5 will have a subrealm called Submerged Catacombs. Not much is known about the towers that will be in future rings, but there has been some debate over if there will be a hard difficulty tower. For well over a year, Tev was going to be the only hard difficulty tower, but after a long community push, there is a chance that Ring 8 or Ring 9 will contain a hard difficulty tower. There is also a chance that there will be an obelisk in Ring 9, which is a tower with more than 30 floors, which could act as some final challenge of the game. Now, I have an extremely special treat for all of you. I have been given a full list of the names of future rings all the way up to Ring 9. This is the first time this is being released to the public, but here is what the future of the first world of TNZT looks like. Ring 4, Beach, but this will be renamed. Ring 4 Subrealm, Coral Reefs. Ring 5, Thalassic Ruins with an unnamed subrealm which will most likely be Submerged Catacombs. Ring 6, Trench, which has an unnamed subrealm. Ring 7, Underwater Dome, with an unnamed subrealm. Ring 8, Abyss, also with an unnamed subrealm. And finally, Ring 9, Seabed, with apparently no subrealm. This list is completely subject to change, but it is pretty cool to have a full list of the future. Events. Events are temporary subrealms which are released around real-life holidays, such as Christmas and Halloween. So far in the game there have been 6 events, being as follows: 2020 Winter Event, the 2021 Spring Event, the 2021 April Fool's Event, the 2021 Halloween Event, the 2022 April Fool's Event, and the 2022 Spring Event. Technically there was a Winter Event in 2021, but it doesn't really count. Phew, got through another layer. How long is this video now? Never mind. We still have 8 layers to go. God, my throat tingles. Oh. COEDC Curation Drama. Citadel of Easiest Difficulty chart is an effortless citadel located in Ring 1, and it was the first citadel added into the game, although it technically shouldn't have been. After the previous owner of the game, Great Bear, joined the collaboration on the Citadel, it was auto-confirmed into Ring 1 before it could be reviewed by a curator. However, the Citadel was actually reviewed, and it did not pass. According to the curator, it wasn't yet suitable to be placed in the game, but this was released mere minutes after the update to the game, which added the Citadel. Event Replay. Event Replay was a feature in the old Ring 1 lobby in which players could access events that had already been closed. This required the player to get 2 buttons to unlock a secret ladder to the event portal room. In the replay area, you could not gain badges previously given from the events, and you could not receive any items. This feature was removed in the revamp of Ring 1, but was re-added around the end of May 2022. Florida Scarf. The Florida Scarf is an item received by completing the winter event in 2020, around a month after the game's creation, which means very few people got it. To be exact, there were only 112 people who ever beat the event and got the item. Very few of them still play now, and I'm one of them. A few developers also have the ability to give themselves the scarf, so this number may not be fully accurate. It emits a low red light which can be used in dark parts and towers, as well as fully regenerating the health of the user once by left-clicking it. Alma. Alma is a prominent figure in the TNZT fandom, being the member of the TNZT Discord with the most messages, having sent around 150,000 messages. For perspective, the collective population of the 5 least populated countries is still less than the number of messages Alma has sent in the Discord server. Alma has sent more messages than there are locations of McDonald's, Wendy's, and Subway combined. There are less hippopotamuses in the world than there are messages Alma has sent in the TNZT Discord. Okay. Alma joined the Discord on July 4th of 2021, and has actively talked nearly every day up until April 21st, 2022, in which they completely fell silent. They are still fairly active in a few different servers, such as another JTO fan game, Community's Weird Towers. CUEDC Old Floors. Several revamps have been done to floors in Citadel of Easiest Difficulty chart, including Unfailable, Automatic, Joyful, Press a Key, Lovely, Pleasant, Peaceful, and Effortless. Some of these revamps were minor, like changing or adding a few jumps to make the floor more enjoyable, or just an upgrade in design, but some are full revamps of the floor. Some of these floors include Unfailable and Effortless, with Effortless being revamped around 3 times since its creation. Christmas 2020 Rewards. The oldest event in TNZT history was the 2020 Christmas or Winter event. After completing all 3 steeples, you were given 2 presents, the present of warmth and the present of ice. After the event concluded, all players with the presents had the presents unwrap into the Florida Scarf, which I covered earlier, and the Sprite Cranberry Coil, a gravity coil which at the time was more powerful than the Game Pass coil, but isn't anymore, which also has a small increase of the speed in which you heal. Cosmetics. On July 3rd, 2021, a new update was released, adding a system which gave cosmetic auras and name tags, which were awarded for completing certain tasks. These tasks included feats such as completing citadels, unlocking new rings and subrealms, beating events, and beating noob crushing towers. These cosmetics were also given to staff members based on their roles, such as curator, developer, and owner. Tower of Bent Trauma reference. In the lobby of Ring 1, there is a large balloon connected to the island by a telescope. What the did I just say? Oh my... Tell us... I'm losing my mind over reading this 10,000 word script. God. Ugh. Okay. In the lobby of Ring 1, there is a large balloon connected to the island by a tightrope. This is a direct reference, at least I think, to the final climb portion of a JTO Ring 9 tower, Tower of Bent Trauma. Why is this here? No idea. Is it actually a reference? Also no idea. Would it be funny if it was? Yup. The Stud of How moment. The Stud of How moment was one of the first things added to the game, being a stud with its corners rotated. It's not really known why it was added, but it does give a badge when you find it. It's currently located near the event room, but used to be located past the COEDC portal in the old lobby. Yet another layer down. I'm sure most of you knew those, but we're going to start getting into some stuff you may not have known. The TEV leak. Basically, at some point before February 1st, 2022, the old frame of the Easiest Void was leaked in general, and someone took a screenshot. The original leak cannot be found, or I can't find it, but memes have been made about its low quality. Also, speaking of Old TEV, here's a look at the floor I built at Old TEV. This is no longer confirmed for the game, so I can show you this. Old credit podium. This is just referring to the very old design of some of the credit podiums, and how they're much different to the new revamped ones. Also, I'm still not in the Ring 1 podiums for some reason, so TOPS. TOPS, or Tower of Pure Simplicity, was an easy difficulty tower created by another Purist Pink, which was confirmed to be the Ring 1 Noob Crushing Tower. The only issue is that a playable version was never added to the game, and it was scrapped. This is because the demand for it to be completed caused the creator to become fairly demotivated to work on the tower, and eventually scrap it, only completing around 3 floors. Effortless drama. The effortless floor on Citadel of Easiest difficulty chart has gone through a lot of drama with its creator, Everything of Roblox. There were 2 aspects of the drama that were the difficulty of the floor was far over effortless, and also the quality of the floor. This drama brought upon the first series of several revamps of the floor, as well as some changes to the Discord rules. Due to the backlash of the floor, Everything's mental state about the floor was at a low point, causing him to be quite upset about the entire situation. This brought upon new bullying and harassment rules to the server, hopefully causing drama like this to appear less often. Colored wins. On July 12, 2021, the win messages given in chat after beating a tower were given unique colors based on the difficulty of the tower. For example, jumpless would be purple, effortless would be dark green, and hard would be orange, and etc. Merry December. On December 1st, 2021, Peridot sent a simple message in the Epic Stuff channel in the TNZT Discord, simply stating, "Merry December, everyone." The next day, he posted a message saying, "Merry December 2nd." This was a planned countdown until the 25th of December, being Christmas. The days passed, and Christmas arrived, and like he had said for the past 24 days, Merry Christmas, everyone. Everyone assumed that this fun countdown was over, but he had noticed something. He took this as a challenge. He continued to say Merry December. Even as January of the next year began, it was still December. It was infinite. OOF board. The OOF board is a board of information in each lobby of the rings and subrealms. It used to only show the amount of deaths in the server, but now it shows much more, like the server's age and total joins. TOVP frame misalignment. There were a lot of misalignments on this one. That's basically it, yeah. And there we go! Middle of the iceberg. We are now reaching the bottom of the iceberg itself, so prepare yourself before we enter the dark depths below. TNZT RPG. A game made by Duper, which uses an RPG kit in Roblox based around TNZT towers. Each tower has its own boss, which when killed drops progressively better weapons. As far as I know, it's pretty much dead. TEV delays. TEV has never actually had a set release date, similar to TODLM, but it has had a long development history. There have been multiple build teams which were creating TEV, myself included in one of them, but due to the lack of incentive to build, the Citadel never really got anywhere. As of now, we have no idea when TEV will release. Hidden Ring 1 signs. Apparently, at one point before the revamp, there were signs around the Ring 1 lobby which said 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm not sure about this one. It also could be the hidden GNZT 1-year anniversary countdown sign hidden behind the event room. Any ABC drama. Any ABC, or Not Even a Button Challenges, is a lovely difficulty mini-tower created by the original owner of the game, Great Bear 215. This steeple was released on the 24th of May, 2021, and instantly was in drama due to its difficulty. The main drama was that there were parts of the tower which required precise button timing, which was overall much harder than the lovely difficulty. This drama got much worse when instead of fixing the issues, Great Bear just asked people to stop complaining. Later that day, Great Bear eventually fixed the issues, but that brought up yet more problems when the timers on the buttons froze when pressed, causing the mini-tower to become unplayable. Around a day after its original release, Not Even the Button Challenges became finally complete, and is still in the version that it is now. Old Ring 2 Islands. This is one of the very few entries that I cannot answer. If you want to find out more about this, dive into the Discord and hunt. Owner swaps. I will go more in depth into this topic in Layer 9, but this entry refers to several of the ownership changes during the post-GB Files era. The ownership went from Great Bear to Dull Errors to Soap to finally where it is now, Tutune. I want to go fully in depth into this topic in the Layer 9 entry, so just be patient for that. The Golden Stud. The Golden Stud is a golden stud in the Ring 2 win room. It used to sit on a pedestal in the pre-revamp lobby, but now simply sits labelless on the edge of the floating island. TOTTT. Tower of Taking the Train was an automatic tower, which was confirmed. Stone Sword. The Stone Sword was an item received from completing the 2021 Spring event. It is purely cosmetic and serves no purpose as of now. This brought a small drama to the community, as this was the only reward from the Spring event and it was kinda pointless. Although some say it gives an advantage in speedrunning, I'm not sure how. We don't know if it'll do anything in the future. Geshwur. Demon from Hell! Okay, not really, but... On June 28th, 2021, the Tower Development Channel, the first member of the cult spoke the 7 cursed characters as a keyboard smash. Geshwurg. People followed in suit, with an unbroken chain of Geshwurg, 7 messages in a row, 1 per character. An image of a tower in development was set, but the poster's mind had been corrupted, and they simply said Geshwurg. A black image was sent, with the same person begging to be set free from the cult, but against their will they simply spoke Geshwurg 3 times. The cult owner simply responds with Geshwurg. Geshwurg was spread throughout the channel, with some even going as far to put the phrase into their own towers. Every single message had Geshwurg included into it. Mere minutes after its creation, Geshwurg had been used 51 times. Geshwurg spread from the Tower Development Channel to channels such as General Media, Random Roblox Creation, Off Topic, and even the entire world was turned into the Geshwurg Nation. The single chant quickly raised through the messages, from being sent 50 times to 100 to 200. Eventually, this day was deemed the Geshwurg incident. Geshwurg then began being spammed everywhere. The server, its own server, it even got a Twitter account. Geshwurg even got sent multiple times in the JTO Discord server. Geshwurg will live forever. All Cart Ride into Great Bear 215. Cart Ride into Great Bear 215 was the separate place you were teleported to when attempting to join Ring 3 during the April Fool's event 2022. It consisted of an excruciating long cart ride, which was very buggy to do legitimately, which led to a model of Great Bear 215. At the end, you were given a badge which claims to give you an item in TNZT, but does not actually yet do anything. We are officially halfway into this journey. Also, this video is already longer than both parts of the previous iceberg combined. Let's go ahead and get through the second half of this iceberg, shall we? Although we are nearing the end of solid land. Okay, I need to get water. My throat's dying. Owner Coil. The Owner Coil is an item in which we know frighteningly little about. All we know is that a hacker once used it in April of 2021, and that Tutun has the item, based on the name. Tutun was able to tell me that it, as well as another coil called the Developer Coil, are the best coils in the game. They were unable to give me images of the coils, but he was fairly sure that they were simply default coil textures. The Dev Coil has green particles emitting from it, and the Owner Coil has blue ones. Christmas 2021. The Christmas 2021 event was a buggy mess, with the only thing added being a short, unfinished steeple. This all went down during 2.5.22, so it was understandable that it wasn't great. After the owner transfer, the steeple was re-released as a finished-ish version, and the event concluded shortly after. Soul Crushing Coil. On December 21st, 2020, a message was posted in updates and teasers which hinted at the name of one of the winter event items that you could get from beating it. It simply said SC with the rest of the name crossed out. People instantly assumed that it stood for Soul Crushing, and were very shocked that something related to a difficulty much higher than hard would be added into TNZT. A few minutes later, Tutun confirmed that it had no relation to the Soul Crushing difficulty or term. Purple Fog. This is probably referring to the purple fog which appeared when you entered the Ring 1 practice obby. Nothing much else. TOPCC Old Version. The old version of Tower of Pretty Creative Chambers was pretty similar to the original tower, except for one detail. The tower had a stretched floor, which technically made the tower have 12 floors in total, which denied the tower admittance into the game. This was changed, and the tower got into Ring 2. Old Ring Select Mountain. I'm pretty sure that this is referring to the fact that in the original version of the Ring Select, Ring 2 simply had one mountain instead of the variety of mountains that there are now. Also, TOVP was there on its own thing, but, you know. TOWAAMC. TOWAAMC, or Tower of Working at a Maid Cafe, is a tower created by Unpickled, which involves doing several tasks in a maid cafe, while dressed up as one. It was never officially confirmed to the game, other than being a monthly challenge, which was never done, but was added into the fake Ring 4 in the April Fool's event 2021. Burn in hell. Old Note Sign. The old note sign was some sort of to-do list located somewhere. I have really no idea what this is. If you have any idea, please comment below. TODLN release date hints. On March 16, 2021, notes were added onto the portal of TODLN, which gave hints about the progression of development for the tower. These hints were also added on the portal of Tower of Gettin' Pretty Funky, which was released shortly after. The hints on TODLN were never actively updated, and were eventually removed. We may never know when it will be released. We are finally off the iceberg itself, and fully plunging down into the icy depths below. I wonder what we'll find. Light Scarf. The Light Scarf was the previous name of the Florida Scarf, which was given after completing the 2020 winter event. It was changed due to a meme in the community that the scarf's shape resembled that of the state of Florida. GCOWITF. Great Citadel of Walking Inside the Frame was a meme tower created by Black Breath, which consisted of 10 copies of Walking Inside the Frame, an already hated tower, stacked on top of each other. This quickly became a meme in the community, and people began completing the Great Citadel, which took over 40 minutes to complete. Eventually, it somewhat became a tower in-game when it was added to the fake Ring 4 area in the 2021 April Fool's event. Ring 2 lore. In Ring 2, there are notes around the lobby which refer to some sort of larger story. Dear Mason, We have decided to move to a different lab in the meantime. Make sure to pack your bags. A helicopter is planning on picking you up tomorrow. We are most likely headed to a more tropical climate. See you soon, Arnold. Notes like this are not present in any other currently accessible area of the game, and we don't know exactly what they mean. Please don't be that complex to lore, God. Old Tocha Floor 10. The old version of the 10th floor in Tower of Jumbless Adventures was simply a box with a wind pad in the middle. There was no gameplay whatsoever, nor was there design. I guess the creator just got bored. Berry Clicker. Berry Clicker is a scratch game created by Pikachu Master, a member of the TNZT Discord server. It is similar to one of the most popular clicker games, Cookie Clicker, in which you click a central source to get upgrades to increase the efficiency of collection. This got fairly popular and got several updates, up to a version 1.4. However, Pikachu Master grew an unhealthy mindset about the game and briefly got COVID after. This caused him to completely vanish from the server, never to update the game or send a message again. Godly Light. Godly Light is a testing item that only Two-Tune, Delusion, and an old staff member, Black Breath, has. This item gives off an extremely powerful amount of light, and is most likely used to test dark parts in towers. As far as I'm aware, there are no screenshots of this item in use. Just a trigger warning for this one. It is hard to find out information about this one, since most messages from the event were deleted, but it was one of the few Tier 5 dramas which occurred in TNZT history. On September 11, 2021, people began making horrible jokes about the 9/11 tragedy. People attempted to stop this drama, but it escalated quickly. All the members who did this were banned, and this was considered the beginning of the GNZT Dark Era, according to Alma. Florida Scarf Man. The Florida Scarf Man was a meme in the 2020 era of TNZT during the winter event. It is possibly the closest thing to a creepypasta on TNZT. Basically, a player apparently turned himself into the Florida Scarf Man and began killing people. There's a screenshot provided along with this showing 2 players dying. We can assume that this murderous player is Grey Bear himself due to the chat messages in said image. Bypassed Bornana. I'm serious. In one of the fake Ring 4 towers during the 2022 April Fool's event, one of the floors has a portion of the song Tone Deaf by Eminem. Part of this song has a meme in which Eminem rhymes the word orange with the word banana, creating the godly word we know as Bornana. But the full lyrics of this portion contain a swear word. I won't say it here, and I won't play it here as I don't want to be demonetized, but it is enough to get an account temporarily banned. The audio remains in the game, however, and we don't know how it stayed in or who created it for that matter. TOHR. To be honest, this should be higher up knowing how popular it is, but whatever. TOHR, or Tower of Hopeless Realities, is a peak, medium, low hard tower created by Everything of Roblox. It began development in early 2021 and has yet to be finished. Many people consider it to be a really good tower to represent the hardest tower in the final ring of TNZT, but the creator has faced several issues with the tower. The tower has been scrapped and revamped over and over again, and it is hard to tell if it'll ever be finished. Personally, I'd love to see it finished, and to be placed in the game. Tev boss fight. All we really know about the boss fight in the Easiest Void is that it could potentially use a launching orb. That's it. It has been confirmed that Tev will have a boss fight, but that is all we know about it. Barry has already been used as a boss in an event, so I personally don't know what would be used as the boss. Ring Select Dog. There is a hidden decal in the ring select for TNZT that is a cube with decals of the Butter Dog on each side, standing on a podium. It's kinda hard to see in normal gameplay unless you encounter a bug, but here's a good image of it. We are way deep down underwater, and we're only getting deeper. I'll be quite impressed if the average player knows any of the following information. NZT. NZT, or Noob Zone Towers, was a running joke in the community after the events of 2.5.22. During this time, the community was unsure what the final name of the game would be after Great Bear left, and the name went through several changes. The community eventually thought that the game would simply be called Noob Zone Towers. Noob Zone Towers was eventually used as a placeholder for the game when people were unsure of the name of the game. People who helped break the glass / breaking the glass. This is referring to the secret in Ring 2, where if you go on the roof There is a glass ceiling which says, "Please do not touch the glass." If you jump on this glass a certain amount of times, I'm not sure exactly how many, the glass will break, and you will be added to a secret leaderboard underneath the lobby, which shows the people in that server who had helped break the glass. Bygone Isles is the Ring 1 subrealm, which was announced pretty recently, but it had been a concept for some time. Here's an image of the old Bygone Isles. It seemed to be a place where you could replay events and have an extra tower, which had an unknown difficulty we haven't seen yet. And it looks pretty bad. But then again, Great Bear was known for its bland buildings. APP. APP, or another purist, Pink, was an old developer in the old 2020 to early 2021 era of GNZT. They created several things for the game, including half of the floors in TOAE, the good ones. It was later discovered that APP was underage, and that they were unfortunately banned from the Discord server and removed from the staff team. They still want to help create towers and areas for the game, so they've said that they will return when they're old enough. Regardless of age, they are an extremely talented individual. Space Coil. The Space Coil is a developer item that is basically the TNZT version of vertical mobility. It is not accessible by players, and has really not been in use at all. There was a hacker who beat the tower with the Space Coil, and Tutune has confirmed that it exists, but aside from that, we really know nothing about it. The original timer kit was from Kato. This is just referring to the fact that, like most new fan games, the original timer kit was an uncopylocked version of Kitty's Towers of Hell's timer kit. It was later changed to what it is today. Oldest Christmas present names. This was one of the entries on the Discord Iceberg event, but never seemed to be answered. Apparently, the 2020 winter event presents had different names to the ones we know now. If you think they know what they are, comment below. I'll give you nothing, but it'd be cool to know. 2/5/22. February 5th, 2022 was the biggest day in TNZT history, but almost no players who aren't in the Discord server are aware of when that happened. All they know is that one day Great Bear was the owner of the game and the next day he wasn't. Now I'm going to go over everything that happened that day. It began simply, as a calm before the storm. This day ended up being one of the most active, having over 14,000 messages. Then a single message was sent, which changed the course of TNZT history. An administrator for the game, Soap, posted their retirement message in announcements, saying it was due to the way GB ran the game. They followed this message with a link to a Google document entitled The GB Files. This document was a 7-part essay about how GB's ownership of the game and server was problematic. I will go over the highlights in order. Part 1. GB's lack of activity. GB uses his devs being active to justify not being active himself, and at this point, he had hardly worked on the game whatsoever. Part 2. How GB treats his active devs. GB says multiple times to his devs that other people have a life, insinuating that his devs do not, and he says other things similar to this. Part 3. Staff pay. GB, up to this point, had been receiving 100% of the revenue from the game, even if he does nearly none of the work himself. He claimed that none of the devs actually wanted payment, when this was completely untrue. He avoided facts about this and tried to change the topic when people asked multiple times. And the final argument, which was held on this topic, took hours and ended up with Soap saying that either GB would pay the devs or they would give them payment themselves. Part 4. GB is against staff freedom. GB wanted to be in control of everything related to the game. Dull Errors, a developer, was building a fantastic lobby for Ring 4, but GB personally didn't like it and wanted to make it himself. He made a poll giving his own personal idea, calling for a vote on whether they wanted his idea or, quote, whatever Dull is making in the dev chat, which doesn't really look like a beach. This was his idea for Ring 4. The devs apparently had to ask GB's permission for everything they did in the game. Part 5. GB's bias. GB was part of a collaboration on a Citadel called Koso. He practically auto-confirmed it, similar to how COEDC was confirmed to the game. A curator reviewed it and hard failed it, which meant it could not be resubmitted. He then put up a 3-hour argument about how it should be confirmed, even though he admitted later that it sucked. Part 6. Responding. GB often ghosted his staff team in many instances. You could ask him something, and 2 days later, he would respond with a 2-sentence answer. I have personally experienced this, so I know it's true. And probably the most important reason, Part 7. GB is underaged. As many people know, to be in Discord while following its TOS, you must be over the age of 13 years old. So if GB was underage and ran a staff team of people who were over the age of 13, would be pretty wrong overall. One of the most damning pieces of evidence is the original kit for the game. GNZT was spelled with spaces, which at first seemed like a simple design choice. However, saying GNZT in Roblox without spaces in an underage account is censored, and an underage account could not publish any models with this in the name. Another aspect of accounts under 13 years of age is that they use a separate website. While 13 plus accounts use Roblox.com, accounts under 13 years of age use web.roblox.com, which is in the link of the original kit for the game posted by GB. Now, to continue. Stereotypic Salsa, another prominent member of the community, also announced their retirement after this document was released. Nearly immediately after this, 2 more staff members, Dull Errors and ASDA, also left. While this was salvageable, something happened that increased the significance of this event more than it already was. Soap and Dull decided that their assets that they had made for Ring 4 and other future areas of the game would be removed, which would push back production of the game's future areas exponentially. People in general were going crazy, calling it the end of the game, and how could you blame them? Tutun said himself that the game would die soon due to these events. Now, you may be wondering what I was doing during this event. I was pleading with GB in DMs. I joined the GNZT community at a dark time in my life. After living in a post-COVID world for nearly a year, I was pretty much done with life. I wasn't suicidal, but I had never been closer. Many of my friends had left me, and I spent most of my days playing Roblox games that I didn't really end up enjoying playing. After I joined GNZT, however, I found a community of friendly people where I felt comfortable talking, and I made several friends that I still enjoy talking to today. And watching it all collapse around me was one of the worst things I had ever experienced, and I was just begging GB at this point to say anything, something to stop this situation. To make any statement. I was frantic. Eventually he did. He started by saying that he was stepping down from ownership. He said that he had already been drifting away from the game and that he was bored of it. He said that he would be passing down ownership to Dull Errors, and that he was only doing this because of the drama. Here's a quote from the statement. "It was a fun ride, but this will be better for the game's future." SOVTV racist dialogue. Steeple of visiting the village involves walking through a small village while talking to all of the members of the village along the way. At one point in development, however, one of the villagers had a dialogue option simply saying Ching Chong, which is offensive to a certain race. This resulted in the creator of the tower getting a temporary ban. This was changed, and the creator gave an apology. The tower ended up being added in-game, and is one of my favorites. Ring 1 White Room. It's just a placeholder. You thought it was interesting? Me too. We are nearly at the end of our journey, but before we get to the final 7 entries, we have one more layer to get through. Let's do this. COEDC removal. This is one of the few entries that is purely fiction. This is just referencing the fact that some people think COEDC will be replaced with another Citadel since it didn't pass review. It probably won't be removed, however, due to how influential it's been in the game's history, and all the work that was put into it. Ring 9. This is a reference to a place owned by Tutun, which is titled Ring 9. Wait, this still exists, right? I'm not going insane. Huh. Could have sworn it existed. Whatever. Well, at one point there was a place owned by Tutun titled Ring 9. At least, I think. Oh, I forgot. God of the Stars. This item is apparently an item exclusive to an ex-staff member, Stereotypic Salsa. It was first discovered when a random member picked it up. Apparently, it was droppable, and Salsa had no idea. It was later seen in an image posted by Tutune, where it was in his inventory. Salsa said that Tutune had evidently removed the item, but it was still in his inventory. Halloween 2020 Lobby. This refers to the fact that at some point a Halloween lobby was in the game. This is a strange fact since the game was created right before Halloween, so it would be kind of hard to have time to add a Halloween lobby. The only proof that there was a Halloween lobby is that Tutune asked someone with a true veteran role if they remembered the Halloween lobby, and joked about removing the role when they said no. The true veteran role is only given to members who joined before December, so there would be no other explanation to why a Halloween lobby would be not known to someone with that role. This could also be a joke by 2 so that the true veteran feels like they missed something, but I'm not sure. Tier 5 Drama. This is basically drama which could have huge effects on the server and its members. I don't know why it's this low, honestly. An example of a drama like this is the events of 2.5.22, but yeah. Actual oldest footage. I'm pretty sure that this is a joke entry created by Salsa for the Iceberg event because I can find nothing about this. Difficulty chart being GNZT's first made asset. Oh great bear, attempting to be creative with the deep entries into the Iceberg. This just refers to the fact that the difficulty chart was the first asset made for the game, probably just trying to make the JTO's Easiest Towers difficulty into a reasonably sized chart. Scrapped Christmas Award. This is most likely in reference to the 2021 Christmas event, which was never given a proper reward to those who completed it. This is probably because of the circumstances it was released in, and that the game was going through several large changes while this event was underway. Rip Arachnia. Under the pillar holding the practice obby in Ring 2, there's a transparent part which you can walk through. Inside is a grave for what looks like someone's pet, which simply says RIP Arachnia. Hidden Ring 2 decal. In the dark fog under Ring 2's mountains, there's a large rotating decal. At first glance, this appears to be nothing but a placeholder which was accidentally left behind by a dev, but it's much more. I don't have an image at this time, but this decal has been changed. It once looked much simpler, but has increased in complexity over time. This means that the devs are aware of this and are actively changing it. This could be the portal to another subrealm, or just a piece of lore related to the notes in the Ring 2 lobby, or just a really complex prank. 10/9/20. This date is extremely important in the history of TNZT, as it was the day that GB had the idea to create it. This is it. You've made it through everything. And so have I. Nearly 100 entries, and there's only 7 left. Let's do this. Tev's oldest location. I have no idea. I don't know. I don't know what it could be. I have no clue, and I am upset that I don't. Because last 10 entries should be really interesting, right? But I have no idea. So, Louise. Trigger warning. Louise was a curator for TNZT in the early to mid-2021 era of the game. He had already been fairly controversial after being known to delete curator reviews for unknown reasons. Some assume that they did this because he personally did not agree with the reviews, but we still don't know for sure. He had been known to cause some issues, but that all changed in one day. On August 7, 2021, Louise was demoted from his position as a curator due to deleting the messages and other reasons. Demotions like this had happened before, but Louise took it another way. It is hard to know exactly what happened on this day as Louise's messages were deleted, but here is what I can see happening from the remaining messages. After he was demoted, he was upset and threatened to kill himself. People immediately began trying to help him by giving suicide prevention hotlines and asking him if he had a therapist and if this was really serious. The situation got more serious as he stressed again. He was incredibly sure about this. He was told to talk to family about this, and people tried to stop it from happening. I wish I had been there, but knowing me, I would have done nothing but Eventually, the channel was locked down. ASDA gave a suicide hotline, but it was for the US, and Luis was Brazilian. It seemed like it was too late. Luis disappeared, and some people assumed the worst. For a few frightening hours, people thought that Luis had actually killed himself. And then Luis was permanently banned. Most think now that Luis had faked his death. And not only that, but afterwards, he had attempted to persuade some admins to say the N-word in their DMs. A few months after this, they said that it was, quote, lore for their tower game. So, yeah. Lobby 1.0. GB really hyped this up by being one of the final 4 entries in the Discord Iceberg event, but it really isn't that much. The original lobby was just the old Ring 1 lobby, but much emptier. Here are some images. As you can see, there were shadows turned on, which gave the portals a kinda neat look. The pathway was also a different texture than Stud's, which doesn't look great. On the left, you can see a sign that the difficulties were arranged from a fan-made obelisk called Obelisk of Difficulty Amplifying instead of the Jet Wiki. Interesting. First ever bug. This is another extremely low entry on the Discord Iceberg event that was never really clarified. As far as I know, this is referring to the fact that there was some Z-fighting on the portal to Tev in one of the early versions of the game, but I really don't know what else it could be, as bugs are super common and rarely documented. GB's Unfailable Tower. I am truly sorry that I don't know more about these last few entries, but this was never really explained. The best that I can think about is that the fact that Tofad may have been an unfailable tower at some point, but I'm not sure. Curse you, GB, for making entries like this not more obvious. However, there is one entry that I know far too much about. 21422. Before we begin, just know that I was given permission by several people to write, record, and post this section of the iceberg. I would not have done any of this without jurisdiction from Everything himself and other admins. On February 14th, 2022, Everything of Roblox told a user named Mushroom that he was going to commit self-harm to the point of suicide. Mushroom quickly responded, begging him not to do so, but Ever said that he was going to do it and said goodbye. Ever posted a screenshot of the conversation in the TNZT Discord, and people instantly were panicked. People began to tell Ever that it wasn't worth doing and that they should tell an emergency number. Ever simply said, "Goodbye, everyone, and farewell for now." Mushroom tells Ever in this moment that he is their best friend. "Goodbye, you won't see me online for now." The channel was flooded with all caps messages praying that Ever would not. An admin attempted to lock the channel, but for some reason was unable. The same admin was unaware if this was simply a stunt for attention, but everyone gave him backlash since a person's life was actually at stake. People then began telling Ever to leave the server if it was the community that had pushed him over the edge of mental health, but Ever simply responded saying it was too late and that the damage had been done. This was the most panicked the server had ever been in. Ever was more than a prominent member of the Discord. He was a friend to many. People were just saying no over and over and over, hoping something would happen. Anything. Alma confirmed the worst. Ever had slit his own hand. Before I delete myself from this world, I have one thing to say. Thank you. Thank you for the good memories. And then I posted a meme in general. Allow me to explain.
He'll think about it. He'll think about it.
At this time, my school was 2 weeks away from their winter musical. I had been cast as a lead role. This was the happiest I had ever been. For the past 2 months, I had been going to rehearsals. On February 14th, 2022, I was waiting in the auditorium of my school for rehearsal to begin with some of my friends, and one of them posted a meme. Me, oblivious to the horrific events playing out in the server, I posted it, since I always post funny memes in the general chat, and thought nothing of it. This was the second worst mistake of my life. I then was told that rehearsal was beginning, so as I was walking to the stage, I looked at the messages that were being sent, and I saw something about Ever and something about self-harm, and then I made the worst mistake of my life. There is no way that I can condone what I did next, and I don't think I ever can. I have no idea what went through my mind. Possibly me thinking it was some sort of cruel joke, a flash of sadism, or maybe it was just me being a goddamn moron. But I said that if ever my friend for nearly a year committed suicide, it would be a great entry in this very video. Less than a minute later, I would be indefinitely banned from the server. Every single person that I knew in that server now hated me. Hundreds of people now unanimously hated me, and it was completely understandable why. After I realized what I had done, I sat down. And I cried. I cried for half an hour without stopping. It was due to a combination of two things. That one of my online friends could very well be dead at this very moment, and that I had made fun of it. I had never hated myself that much before that moment. Please do not get what I'm trying to do here wrong. I don't want to make you feel any sympathy for me. I am just trying to explain what happened on that day. Now let's see what happened after I got banned, since I am in no way the center of this story. Though he did commit self-harm, at the end of the day, Ever did not kill himself. A developer was demoted, and a member was banned. That's the story. A month later, I was re-invited to the server. Between my ban and this time, I had attempted to make myself a better person. What I had done was heinous, and I could not live with it. I tried to improve my mental health, and attempted something impossible: forgive myself. Eventually, Ever himself forgave me for what I had done, and so did a select few other members. However, to this day, I have not forgiven myself for what I did, and I don't think I ever will. Here we are, the ocean floor. We made it to the end of the iceberg. Over a year later, we have made it to the end of another iceberg. Another iceberg. Another collection of facts that will ultimately amount to nothing. Sure, this may become my new most popular video, but is it what I want to be my most popular video? Is this type of project the thing I want to create? The answer isn't yes, but also isn't no. This project, and the months of my life I've spent creating it, I've left myself with nothing but a feeling of nothing. No accomplishment, but also no disappointment. I've already done this, but people want it to happen again, and I'm a people pleaser, so here we are again. Here we are. Wait. I'm missing something. There's just one more entry for me to complete. TODLN doesn't actually exist. Oh my god, what was that? Wait, what was that? What the hell? What?
Hello, fairy dot person.
Who's there?
It is I, Tutun, owner of the Noob Zone Towers.
Tutun? What are you... How did you get into my house?
I'm here to prove your Yulon claim incorrect. Look at this.
Okay. I don't even see what could be in this, that's so... Oh my god! It's beautiful! It's real! It's real! Thank you to Soap for being my main source of behind-the-scenes information. Very cool. Credits to Duper for being a freaking mad lad and explaining every single entry on the iceberg for fun. Why? Thank you forever for forgiving me even when I shouldn't have been forgiven. Thank you to Great Bear for creating the game I love, as flawed as you may be. And thanks to you, the TNZT community, for staying strong and enjoying my content. Hopefully you like whatever it is I make in the future. Thank you, and good night.